Hello, friend. Welcome to this channel, Center of Excellence Pharma 4. We are focusing this channel on discussing about emerging technologies, digital transformation, and Pharma 4. In this episode, I am going to discuss about digital supply chain resilience, lessons from disruption. This is 123rd episode. Before starting the episode, let me give you a background. Dr. Jayan Joshi, that's myself, has designed this concept, Center of Excellence Pharma 4, keeping in mind about various emerging technologies like cloud, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, IoT, blockchain, chatbot are coming up, and with an integration, how these technologies can help to pharma industry in facing the challenges of supply chain management, regulatory requirements, and pharma. With this objective, we have developed our website respa.com. We have also launched a course on Udemy platform, Smart Manufacturing in Pharma, which has got 20 modules. Our YouTube channel was launched about 5 years back. This has got about 388 videos, and these are covering from emerging technology strategies to audits and validation. Podcast channel which you are listening has got an excellent global response. This has been listened. Our listeners are there in 45 countries, and the numbers have crossed more than 1,000. We also have a book series on Amazon. These books are available on Kindle as well as paperback. Presently, there are 10 books are already been published. So with this background, let me start with today's agenda. I'm going to discuss about the COVID pandemic and the digital transformation adoption, geopolitical and trade disruptions, advanced digital technologies, natural disasters and climate resilience, technology and cybersecurity, supply chain diversification, market impact and strategic transformation, implementation strategies and best practices, future directions and emerging technologies, and conclusion. As you are all aware, COVID-19 pandemic has created a big challenge, and this has forced many companies to start adoption of digital transformation. Challenges faced into pandemic are mainly into disruptions in supply chain, where increased demand is there for certain medicines at a various geographic areas or something, and companies are not in a position to supply. As it has become a global market, the companies are importing materials from the various countries. Those are getting distributed at a various manufacturing or contract manufacturing location, then coming up at a certain location for the distribution, and again either getting exported to other countries or getting exported to various geographies. So this has really become a big challenge, and it has created a lot of disruptions and all. And this has really shifted the companies to digital supply chain management. They have been forced, and it has enhanced the focus on the resilience actually. I have listed 5 pillars of digital supply chain resilience. That's a visibility, collaboration, agility, optimization, and end-to-end integration. So we are really looking on focusing onto these 5 important parameters. So let's look at it the more details. So pandemic response and recovery. This This unprecedented stress test has really created a challenge with all, whether it's a small or big or medium-sized pharma companies. It has revealed that there are critical vulnerabilities are there into the supply chain, and this requires a acceleration into digital transformation initiatives. Critical drug shortages has created due to lockdowns. Disruption in production, mainly in China and India, has created a problem because China and India are supporting almost 40% of world's active pharmaceutical ingredient. And unless you have those APIs in hand, you cannot really process to the formulations and all. Now, AI-powered demand forecasting systems are also come up and all that sort of a thing, which can really help you for a better demand planning and all. This can reduce the errors into the forecasting. Earlier forecasting was on based on to the past data. Now, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the algorithms can really help you to predict the demand or the changes or the variations more correct, and that can really start working as a backward onto the complete supply chain management and all this. So sometimes it has been observed that even the demand surges by 300 to 500%, and then it becomes very difficult for the companies to support it and all. The real-time supply chain visibility is the most important thing into the entire supply chain management. Another thing is, as far as the pharma industry is concerned, is the automated compliance documentation. Reduction in the manual documentation efforts are required, and this is where again your technologies are going to play an important role. So automated systems can really reduce the manual efforts by almost 80%. As you are aware, what is my observation is that 30% of the skills are spending their time in maintaining those documentation. And maintaining such a huge documentation manually, there are possibilities of making a mistake. And this is where the automated systems, digital systems can really help in regularly maintaining, correct maintaining the entire documentation. Operational continuity during pandemic has really opened up the eyes of the people, and they have now started following the documentation by digital systems, and then the workforce disruptions are can be reduced and all that sort of thing. This has overcome the challenges of the lockdowns and the social distancing and all those. Everyone has faced it during the pandemic and all. And now almost 90% companies are engaged in some way or other in the digitalizations and all. Though it is not a totally integrated because the entire integration is a long-term process, but the efforts are already been started it and all. Adaptive networks are there now. Another important thing is basically a lot of geopolitical tensions and the trade disruptions are being observed during last couple of years, basically global level. Either the trade war or a war, or maybe some other challenges from the different countries about the tariffs and all that. And this is really creating a more important challenge. So this is where you need an advanced solution. Now you need to shift from the traditional supply chain management system, which we are not really able to take care of all these things. And at the same time, there are some spurious products getting into the system, which requires a check like a blockchain and all that sort of a thing. And you have to build a transparency about traceability of the product going to the patient from its origin, from starting from the material, manufacturing process, and transportations to the patients and all. So these networks are really coming up, and this is where we have seen that you need a complete real-time visibility of the entire system. Now, IoTs are again are enabling the supplier mandate and all that. That monitoring system is really going to play important role because IoTs can really keep track about the information starting from the supplier, the way those are produced, the data can be captured about the quality parameters, goes into the system, those products, the materials get delivered to the company's warehouse or stores or something like that. And this can detect if there is any possibility of any disruption, even from supplier delivery to the reaching to the uh, own company's store or warehouse and something. And you have to really minimize even those supply chain disruptions also. Now, artificial intelligence with machine learning can also do the risk assessment. Models can be developed, algorithms can be developed, which will do that 85% accuracy of predicting those risk factors also, or identify those political and economic disruptions and all this sort of a thing. So accordingly, you can take a necessary corrective actions and all. And those valuable due to the long lead times can be reduced. Complexities of regulatory requirements can be reduced. So IoTs are also playing an important role. Digital trade documentations, like as I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the things also, cross-border delays are there. Those processing can be also reduced. It more into the documentation, which is getting converted into digitizations and all that sort of thing. So blockchain verification also ensure the authenticity and all that sort of a thing. And this will help companies to maintain the supply chain flow during this increased border securities and critical medications are along with the potential tensions can be reduced it and all that sort of thing. Now, various advanced technologies which are really coming up, like I mentioned some of the things earlier, these are the things which are driving the resilience with the innovations and all that sort of thing. As I mentioned earlier, that artificial intelligence and machine learning, they are playing a very important role, starting from the demand forecasting, which analyzes the real-time data from the sales pattern, market conditions, weather pattern, expects and predicts the demand fluctuation with a high accuracy, and this improves the forecast accuracy, which may be around for 50-60% can go up to 80-90% and all. And that is where it can help in reducing the inventory cost, minimizing the stock outs and all that. And that will help in disruptions into the supply chain. Now, while doing all this checking and with AI and machine learning, it can also take into the consideration the now outside changes which are really happening it and all, and give it its impact onto the supply chain designing and all that. So digital resilience strategies can be developed in such crisis situations and all. Another technology which is coming up is digital twin technology, which is really is a comprehensive virtual replicas it can really create it, like scenarios of planning, optimization, crisis response, and all those things can be created. And the model will show you how the things will move from the raw material suppliers to the retail endpoints and all this thing. So entire processes will be drawn, and then those virtual replicas can be checked up, can be studied, and those can be implemented at the shop floor levels and all. So real-time simulations, which are happening at this disruptions and all, can be actually trace back and all that sort of a thing. That is what is the objective of the digital twins and all. So it will simulate the impacts of the supplier's failure, transportation disruption, or any facilities closure into the manufacturing areas at your own plants or maybe your contract manufacturers and all that sort of thing. and how those can be overcome, that will give you the idea, or the strategies can be shared. So such major disruption can be quickly rerouted with some shipment, some changes into the plan, or resetting the inventories flows and all that sort of a thing, so that your supply chain continuity is not disrupted. It's basically maintained and all that sort of thing. And the predictive capabilities can be taken up that will help you to again optimize the resources utilizations and all. So this is what is the objective of the digital twin technologies, and that will contribute. Another thing, while in the beginning I mentioned about the natural disasters and climate resilience and all. This also is becoming a critical issue in last couple of years due to frequent changes into the weather and this analytics and all that sort of thing. So climatic changes are also playing a role by increasing the frequency of the severity into these natural disasters and all, and how that is going to give a critical impact onto your supply chain, that needs to be analyzed. So you may have to plan it out 7 days early warning. Nowadays, weather data is available, so you can take that into consideration to plan it out or change or modify your supply chain plan. It could be the logistic plan, this distribution plans, and all that sort of a thing. And this data is getting integrated with your entire supply chain system to identify those vulnerabilities and all that stuff. So accordingly, you can take a preventive measures, no? Either depending upon the weather conditions to plan it out or reroute the plans, or uh, do the changes into delivery schedules or something like that. So that is what is going to happen. Now, dynamic route optimization is also good solution. This has been observed mainly into your pharmaceutical products distribution to the warehouse, to the logistic service providers, and finally reaching to the patients and all that sort of thing. So high success rates into delivery schedules are also there, and that maintains the delivery schedule even in the severe weather conditions also can be monitored. And continuous monitoring really helps into this optimal routing and all that sort of thing. And that helps to have a minimum disruptions as far as the patients is concerned. And artificial intelligence powered this logistic networks can be really worked it out based on to collecting the response of the changing weather conditions and all that sort of thing. Now, climate resilient networks are also being designed so as to take care of such challenges, and pharmaceutical supply chain strategy needs to be worked it out. It has to take into consideration because earlier traditional designs were inadequate to take care of such volatile climatic environments and all that stuff. But now with AI and IoT getting integrated, and you can do the designing of the various models to support to those transport or reroute those conditions and all that to maintain or support the supply to the patients and all this sort of thing. And this can really help it in reducing the risk also into the supply chain. And this will have a long-term impact of along with the climate change also that can really take into consideration. Now, how technology and cybersecurity can really contribute is also to be seen. Now, increasing digitization and cybersecurity vulnerabilities are also there. So when we are looking at it, a digitization of the supply chain, that will increase the new cybersecurity risk also, because you are connecting the IoT, you are collecting the cold chain vehicles, all these. And then you are moving from the various truckloads from various locations, and those are moving. So you are trying to collect the data from the various sources. So there is a possibility that these things can be meshed up and all that, and you have to develop a cybersecurity mesh architecture. So this is becomes an important thing because you are going to have a very critical, very sensitive data, and this going to play an important role. So you have to have a secure communication, data sharing across the entire network. This is what becomes a very important, and you have to build a security architectures accordingly. Now you have to have a zero trust network. Now you have to have a continuous validations about the identity and security. Every device, user, transactions, everything needs to be validated. So you have to have a security system which is within the supply chain ecosystems and all. You have to have a prevention of supply chain attacks, which could be possible, which could you can visualize it and all that. And this requires a continuous authentication and authorizations also. And that will help in integrating the multiple supplier, multiple manufacturing location, multiple logistic service providers and all this sort of a thing. So you will have a complex security challenges which will get integrated and all. So automated threat detection is to be taken into consideration. And this is where, again, as I discussed earlier, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all those threats which are there should be really monitored in. Because you are moving to a bigger, larger network, which is going to have traffic coming from the various sources, various locations and all. And you may have a different user behaviors are going to get followed up and all. You have to also monitor the system performances about the data transfer, data security, data integration, data storage, data validation. So many of those things also need to be taken into consideration. And you need to develop a sophisticated cyber attack systems and all that sort of. Digital business continuity is very important in all such places as we are really moving into the entire digital transformation, digital supply chain management system, which is very essential. And this digitization creates a lot of opportunities, but at the same time, a lot of vulnerabilities are also going to be there. So this enables a 24-hour support business resumptions after the cyber attacks to be taken into consideration. So critical supply chain operations should really continue during this disruption. You have to ensure all the system in such a way that continuity has to be maintained, basically, because you are going to integrate it. No doubt, cloud computing has a lot of provisions about the security point of view, but still we are going to connect a lot of location, lot of geographies, lot of stakeholders, lot of processes, and a lot of uh, connective devices like an IoTs, and also you have to really take into considerations all that. So multiple sourcing is going to cover up, but that is really going to help you to the your decision support system. So we are always discussing about the data-driven decision making because we are going to depend upon the real-time data and which was really earlier about the human behavior decision making, we are shifting to the data driven decision making. So multiple sourcing systems are going to come, they are going to get integrated. The data is going to get integrated, data is going to get analyzed by artificial intelligence and machine learning, which is going to help you to optimize all those resources utilizations and should support from supplier performance to logistics system provider, along with the regulatory compliances to the patient centricity, patient satisfaction. So that is what is the thing which really we are looking. We are looking at it. Of course, it starts with the supplier performance intelligence also, which is what is really going to get utilized from artificial intelligence and machine learning about supplier reliability, quality performance, risk factors, all those things are to be covered up. And finally, it also depends upon the financial stability about your supplier thing also. In case if he has a problem, then you are also going to suffer it. So your early warning system should really uh, compensate onto that. Capacity planning optimization is the most important thing. This is important basically from the essentials of the building up a supply chain flexibility and should maintain the cost efficiency because that is what it is going to impact onto your profitability. So advanced analytics and simulation modeling will be there. This will help in optimal manufacturing capacity configurations and adaptations to the demand planning and all that. This reports to the flexibility into manufacturing plants, integration with the flexible manufacturing technologies, real-time adjustments. Again, digital twins can really help it over here, and that will overcome the pandemic situations like COVID. Yeah. Now, this also requires a help from the implementation strategies and your best business practices and all that sort of thing. So how technology integration, as I was discussing in my this discussion, technology plays an important role. So you need a comprehensive technology and organizational transformation point of view. No? You may have to redesign those processes, capability development, and finally supported by the cultural changes. We always discuss about the holistic approach. It's like a people, processes, and technology, or we always discuss about the head, heart, and hands, no, basically, because those are the people, those are the skills who are going to drive the entire thing and all. So they should be ready. They have to have a cultural change to be shifted, from old analog systems to the new digital system. And this is where you need a integrated approach actually. So you have to have a pharmaceutical expertise, you need a external technology capabilities, you also have to see the specific industry challenges, you have to also see the case studies about other pharma companies, how they have adopted it, and then you plan a phased out rollout strategy. You can start with a one plan and then go on extending either a processes or a technology and then go on extending it. And so these are normally long-term processes. They can run from maybe 3 years to 5 years and all. May start seeing the some results in a quarter or something like that. But since we are talking about the complete entire end-to-end digital supply chain management, we are linking up starting from demand planning, sales and operation planning, procurement planning, manufacturing, logistic planning, and all that. So this is a have to have a phased rollout strategies to be worked it out along with the change management. As I was discussing in the last slide, importance is there how successfully we implement this digital transformation. And this is where a lot of stakeholders are involved and they need a training. They need to understand the technology part of it. They need to understand how those technologies can get adopted to the processes and all, and how those processes are going to capture the data, which is going to be helpful in the data-driven decision making. So, no, this is a continuous process. You need to monitor those performances. You need to monitor those technologies, how they are implemented it and all, and how human element has contribute into the entire transformations. Now, this as mentioned about the change, we have to also think about it about integration of the emerging technologies. As start mentioned earlier also, like we focus on two emerging technologies like cloud, AI, IoT, and all. So you have to really build those emerging technologies into more resilient, efficient, and adaptive to supply chain ecosystems and all that sort of thing. So technology advances which are there is going to give a better leverage to the future capabilities. And this is where it's a continuous evolution with the digital technologies, which is really going to contribute it. So with this brief discussions, I'm coming to the conclusion that there is a significance is there about the digital transformation into supply chain resilience and all that sort of thing. So we have to really look at, think about this operational innovation into the pharma industry, which leads to the superior operational performances and all. And this leads to the lessons from the recent disruption, which everyone has seen in the pandemic situations and all. This is where the increasing supply chain disruptions are there, but we have to really monitor those with emerging technologies. Emerging technologies will help you to give you a real-time data, and with technologies like AI, IoT, digital twins can help you to identify the possible disruptions which are likely to happen at all. And this is where your technology convergence with the AI, IoT, blockchain, and advanced analytics can really help you to minimize those disruptions, minimize those impact of those disruptions to keep the your supply chain moving smoothly. That should be our objective. So these details are also discussed again, as I mentioned earlier in the beginning, onto other social media platforms also. Do refer to them, share your comments, share your suggestions, share with your network. Thank you. Bye.